Happy Friday, Lux Digital Church family. That was my best try at an announcer voice. What do you guys think? Happy Friday, Friday, Friday. Is it got like a ring to it?
I think you need to add more bass to it.
That's great. Thanks for the ringing endorsement there, everybody. Welcome to the Roundtable, your source for all things awesome and nerd culture and, I guess, social media talk. We are joined on this amazing Friday afternoon. If you are live in the chat, pop in there, say hello. Let us know how your week's been and all those things. We are also turning this into a podcast. If you have not listened ever to us in podcast form, you can now carry us around in your pocket or on your Apple Watch or in your King. Buuji's live in the chat. Blocker J is live in the chat. Nav's live in the chat. We're going to assume Templar is live in the chat somewhere. St. Bear is rebuking me. You get off of me. We are joined by three other people here in the chat, starting with our favorite guest host in the spinning chair to our bottom right, Mr. Buuji 412. Buuji, I typically like to open up all these episodes. Usually podcasts and live shows have that weird like banter thing that happens at the beginning. Tex Holden's also in the chat. What's up, Holden? I hate that like banter stuff because it's like, hey guys, welcome to the show. So how's everybody doing? And it's like this dumb open-ended question. Instead, I have been wanting to just throw out one question and we just kind of grab hold of it. So our question for the week is, if you had to be any Pokemon, who would you be? This is obviously in honor of the new Pokemon that's coming out. What is it? Violet and Scarlet? Is that what it is?
Violet and Scarlet drop it in 7 days on November 18th.
Yep, and
I'm
then
not counting or anything.
There's a reason I asked Buuji first. So let's put some rules and constraints about this. Not who you would want to be, but what kind of Pokemon.
Because there's over 1,000 now.
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, I don't care. But what Pokemon you actually are, like what Pokemon you identify with. Go. If you need to pull up a list, you can type it into the internet and it'll tell you.
I had my go-to and then you changed it. What Pokemon do I identify with?
Yes.
I'm looking at the list. I got a couple. But go ahead, Buuji.
I think I got it.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Shuckle.
Shuckle?
Shuckle.
I don't know.
As I Google this.
Yeah, I don't know Shuckle.
So many Pokemon. Like I have to I've heard of that Pokemon, but I have to look it up.
That sounds like a clown name.
It says
clown?
in the bulbapedia.bulbgarden.net, it says it is a mold Pokemon. What is a mold Pokemon?
Yeah. I don't know. I stopped paying attention to those things.
I did not know that was even a thing. Here, I'm gonna as we're talking, I'm gonna pop over into a screen share. So we can see this here.
You need to put this on the screen here.
Yeah. So that's kind of dumb. If I had to say anything, not
that's kind of dumb.
Not that Buuji's being dumb, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know anything. Okay, so why would you be Shuckle?
So, I mean, a little bit of a nerd thing here. Shuckle has the highest defenses in the game.
Okay.
Out of all the Pokemon ever made.
Okay.
And but on the inside, he's just a worm, if you can't tell by the picture. A worm with legs, I guess. So I like to think that, I have a hard exterior, but inside I'm just a coward. A big softie.
Okay. I can go with that. Here, I'm going to publish this and then I'm going to blow it up so that everyone can see Shuckle right here.
Sure.
There's Shuckle, ladies and gentlemen. So we have in the chat right now, St. Bear says he would be Mew. I don't know that that's the case. I also think St. Bear, I've got another answer for St. Bear and I'll get to it. Lord Shadow in the chat, hello. Reed in the chat, hello as well. Tex would be Mime. Okay, so Shuckle. Good first answer. Nav, we're going to come to you. Navilis, what Pokemon do you identify with?
I'm going with one of my favorites and one of my OG Pokemons from the original 150. Okay, so here we go. I have to go with Arcanine. Arcanine.
I can't spell that. Arcanine. There it is. It's a dog.
A-R-C-A.
Yeah.
Arcanine.
Arky. Yeah. It's
yes,
a fire
yes. Arcanine. That was one of my favorite Pokemons. He was like on my original Pokemon team. Arcanine is like loyal and brave and a good companion. So that's kind of like what people have told about me. So I'm just going to go with what other people have said about me.
That's cute.
And just like that fits the description. And also Arcanine is just like a cool looking Pokemon too.
Yeah, no,
I
totally.
think like has like some great mane, great hair, you know? So like cool marketing. Yeah.
Yeah, the long hair. I can go with that. We're also joined by Templar. Templar, same question to you. If you had to identify as any Pokemon, what would it be?
I don't know. This is a tough one. My Pokemon knowledge is pretty outdated. Like I Red and Blue or Pokemon Stadium was like the last Pokemon game I actually played.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So, have they not run out of colors yet? Are they going back? Like, are they going to do like Blue 2, like Red 2?
Well, it'll be like
that sort of thing.
It'll be like
stalling.
Yeah, it'll be like Sea Blue, Seafoam Green, and Mold Orange.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it'll be.
They just got to get like the paint colors out and be like, this is like the taupe edition.
Ooh, that's
this is
good.
The off-white edition.
Yep.
You know, whatever.
That's good.
I mean, hey, just get
Eggshell.
the color wheel out and you can make the same game another 70 times.
Yep.
I've already made it 20 times.
Amen.
So, I don't know. Like, I feel like Snorlax is probably the typical like self-deprecating joke of like a Pokemon to say that you are. Like, I always liked Abracadabra. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean,
Abracadabra, then Alakazam. So Abracadabra, then Alakazam.
Abra's
so original,
cool.
but awesome.
Abra's pretty cool. Yeah.
Sure. That, I don't know. He seems like he'd have anxiety, so like I'll say that.
He seems like he'd have anxiety. Oh, I love it. Tex Holden said they did right. That was the Pikachu Eevee game. Yeah, it was actually the Pikachu Eevee game. I'm gonna go. As I was kind of positing this question as I was setting everything up, I thought like, man, I would love to have people tell me like I'm like Machamp, or what does Machamp evolve into or evolve from?
Champ?
Yeah, Machamp. Machamp, and then Champ. You know, I feel like that would be me.
Yeah, the 4 arms. Yeah.
Yeah, but it would end up being like I'm just like I think I would just end up being this Caterpie. Yeah, that's kind of what I identify as. Like he's evolved.
At least you're not Magikarp.
Well, I did stay away from that. I think that's, you know, it's Snorlax and Magikarp, I think, are the two that if you want to be. So Abra does flee a lot, so anxiety is fitting. There you go, says Lord Shadow in the chat.
There we go. That works.
Yeah, and Tex says he comes with a spoon accessory like a Barbie. So I'm in. I'm fully in. Well, thanks for playing along at home. If you are playing along at home, throw it into the chat. You can head over to the Googles and really let us know. But today, we're going to be talking about a number of things. We typically in the Roundtable like to just grab a current event, grab a hot topic, something like that, and talk about that. So we're going to talk about social media and kind of our role in social media. Should we run away from it? Should we kind of dive into it a little bit more, especially as Christians? But before we get there, as we always do, we do like to go around the table and see what people have been watching, listening to, playing, consuming in nerd culture. Nav, with the Occupy Mars shirt, since we are talking about Twitter a little bit later. Navalis, what have you been watching, playing, listening to, consuming in nerd culture?
Let's see. We'll start with Marvel Snap. Play that. That's just like a daily thing. And so enjoying that. I got a Destroyer, which I did not know was a Marvel villain hero type thing. I'm learning a lot more about Marvel. Like I know just like the main Marvel characters. DC was more my thing, or no, X-Men was more my thing growing up. So I know like the X-Men characters when I see them, but like the whole Marvel universe. But anyway, Destroyer, basically when you play it, destroys all your other cards, but it's like cost 16 power, But there's like synergies you can do with it to protect your other cards from being destroyed and stuff. So it's really cool. It's like you can build it's a build around card. So it's like really fun. It's one of my first pool 3 cards. But anyway, been playing that, having fun. Halfway through Tales of Arise. So I'm trying to finish that before I go to Africa, which I'll mention that in a second.
Ooh,
I am
yeah.
going to Africa. And so then for TV, a little bit of Parks and Rec, a little bit of Impractical Jokers, because my friend has not seen. If you ever seen that show, Impractical Jokers, it's pretty funny. And then like getting my Christmas movies lined up to like start watching some Christmas movies because one, I'm going to Africa, so I'm missing like 9 days of December, so I got to start early. Okay, so I have an excuse. Okay, so there's just some classics I have to watch before I go and everything else. But that's all I've been doing. Yeah, I'm going to Africa to help oversee a well we are digging or funding for our sister church in Africa. So I was invited to go along. So so I'm doing that, going to Africa, to Kenya, flying into Nairobi. It'll be 40 hours of travel to get there.
Oh.
And then, yeah. So we're leaving Tuesday morning and not getting there till Wednesday night. So I leave from Knoxville, go to Chicago, go to London, then go to Nairobi. So, and on the way back is skipping Chicago. I'm going back to Philadelphia before I come back to Knoxville.
That's crazy.
I have an 8-hour layover in London. So
are you allowed to leave the airport, or do you just have to stay there?
I'm not going to leave the airport. I'm just going to stay. I'm probably going to try and sleep. Like I have like an inflatable airbed thing that's like real small for camping. I'm just going to blow that up and just like come wake me up in a couple hours. I'll be in this corner. So
good luck with that. They also have those. They have those pods in at Heathrow that you can rent out those pods for 4 hours or whatever.
I actually might do that. So, but I'm excited. So we're gonna do some stuff like that. We're gonna go to probably the. Don't quote. If I say this wrong, I'm sorry. I was told this once, but I think it's the Mozeki tribe. They're actually one of the warrior tribes over there that we actually, our sister church over there does some stuff with. And so they're the ones that like in a traditional garb with the spears you see and stuff. So I might be going to one of those tribes. Yeah. So that's really cool to actually just to see some things, and never been to Africa. So I'm excited. Oh, and also we support an orphanage over there. So I'll be doing some stuff with the orphanage as well. But anyway, that is my week. I found out like 8 days ago, basically, that I was going to Africa. So there.
I mean, that's not really a trip that you can just kind of, it's not like going to Cincinnati. Like you got to actually plan for that, you know? So good on you for turning
travel
around.
Insurance. Yeah. Travel insurance, U.S. Embassy. But we have my pastor and a good friend who's also a pastor I'm going with. They've been there multiple times. So they already know how to do everything. So they're like, you need this, this, and this. So it's like they have a checklist. And so, which is nice. So I'm like, you guys lead me. I'll turn whatever in. So
sweet. Awesome.
Anyway, that's been my week. Don't want to take any more time. So it's been good.
All good. Buuji, what have you been playing, watching, listening to, consuming in nerd culture?
So playing wise, I have dived back into Dragon Age Origins.
Ooh.
Because it's rumored that Dragon Age 4 will be dropping soon-ish.
Yep.
So I was like, let's just go back and play through 1 through 3. So I've been playing a lot of that lately, along with my usual Cities and Back 4 Blood stuff. But watching wise, I just finished Miss Marvel yesterday. So that was a fun little 6-episode show, short and simple. It still kind of suffers from the classic Disney Marvel flaw of some things just don't make sense at all. It's just one of those things where if one character makes the obvious choice, the whole show just blows up. But for writing's sake, and they have to make them do the opposite. So, but it was still fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I didn't actually see anything about Miss Marvel until it dropped, and I opened up Disney Plus. I was like, oh, I guess this show's out. Have not touched it yet. I maybe it's just me, but like, I'm kind of moving on. I feel bad, but like I don't have enough time in my year for every ancillary character, every little thing that is out there in the Marvel, even in the Star Wars universe. Like I watched one episode of Andor. I was like, man, this is good. I
haven't even touched Andor yet.
It's good. It's just, man, like throw it on the pile of all the other. Sorry, Buuji, I'm not trying to steal your thunder here.
So the kind of piggy. I mean, I don't want to spoil too much in case people want to watch it, but to kind of go with what Nav said of the kind of person Navalis is, they do mention.
Tell me what type of person Navalis is.
Yeah, he's loyal and got a great mane, all that stuff. But no, they do mention the word mutation in there, which is actually the first time the Marvel Universe has ever mentioned mutation, which leads to the X-Men.
Yes.
So yeah, I'll watch the X-Men. I'll watch everything that the X-Men put out.
X-Men. If X-Men get involved, I'm there. Like that's what I grew up with. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Anything else? Anything else you've been watching, doing all that stuff in nerd culture?
Nope. Just waiting for Pokemon. Magic gets a new set on Wednesday, so that'll hold me over for like 3 days, and then I'll throw my phone out the window and just play my Switch. But yeah.
Are you in on the Marvel Snap craze, the cult?
I have it, but I'm not part of the cult. I think everyone's passed me up in collection level by now. So it's the game that I play when I've done all my dailies in Magic and don't need to play Magic and I'm just putting the kid to bed or something. I know Navalis plays it when he's like standing in line at the bank and then when he's pumping his gas and, cooking dinner and stuff. It's not me.
He's not wrong.
Oh, Nav is part of the cult. That's cool. Awesome. Templar, before we get to Templar, Lord Shadow talking about Dragon Age, you're going to like what I'm playing as well. So stick around for another couple minutes here, Lord Shadow. Also talking about the fact that there's a lot of good games coming out next year. Suikoden 1 and 2 remasters, did not see those. Aiden Chronicle is going to be good. Octopath 2 and the new Final Fantasy. I didn't know that the new Final Fantasy was next year. I thought it was going to be... I thought they pushed it to 2024. If it's 2023, that would be awesome. And Barbodas says, I miss playing Magic. Well, Barbodas, welcome to Lux Digital Church, where every other person still plays Magic. So, and like, just jump on in. If you're not in the Discord, jump on over discord.gg/ here. I'll even put a link in there and you will find so many people playing Magic right now. Templar, what have you been playing, watching, listening to, consuming in nerd culture? Oh no, your mic did the thing again. Your mic did the thing again.
We lost him. Oh no. We can't hear him.
Hello?
Hey, you're back.
There he is.
Hello?
Oh no, it's gone again.
Okay.
Oh no, there it is.
There we go.
Dragon Age 4. I'm not sure. I've kind of given up on BioWare, so I don't really know what to make of that one. I don't have any faith in the current team at BioWare, so I think I'll wait on Dragon Age 4 and see how it turns out and what the reviews are like before I maybe get into it. I loved the first one, and Origins was good, and Mass Effect Andromeda was a mess, and so I don't know. I'm just not sure about them. And Starfield's never coming out. Someone said Starfield. That's a myth.
Not. Yeah,
that's not something that's not actually going to happen.
That's Star Citizen. Star Citizen's been in what, 10 years or something like that. It's the same thing. Starfield's going to be the exact same thing.
Yeah. Star Citizen is like Escape from Tarkov. It's like in alpha for
it's
entire life. Of like, a decade. It's going to be in like alpha or beta, and it'll never actually launch as a game.
Yeah, it's a cryptocurrency. That's all it is.
What have I been playing? I picked up the new Call of Duty, so I've been playing that and having some fun with it. Warzone 2 comes out next week, so I'll probably try that out. The campaign is reasonably fun. They made it a bit more challenging, which they've moved a little bit away from. It's not as arcadey as many of the other ones have been, which has been sort of a nice change, and it plays pretty well. Then, of course, I picked up God of War Ragnarok. That was my number one anticipated game when we did our top 5 most anticipated games list. So I picked that up on Tuesday when that came out. And so I haven't got too far into it yet, maybe about 10%, 20% of my way through it, but I've been really enjoying it. It largely builds on the first one. And, I have a few complaints maybe, but overall it's great. So I've been having a lot of fun with that. In terms of what I've been watching, I've been kind of looking for something to watch. I don't have a show right now that I'm sort of locked into. I have been enjoying Andor. I would say I've gotten more into it as the season has gone on, but we'll talk about that on another episode. And that's it. I've been looking for a show. So, yeah. I guess just been playing those two.
May I suggest Miss Marvel? Apparently that's good.
Nah, I'm good.
It's
that
not
doesn't seem
good.
like it's for me.
It's just
it's there.
It's fun.
I heard it was good. Like I heard people say that it was like pretty well done, but it just doesn't seem like a show that's made for me. Like it just seems like something that I wouldn't be interested in. So I'm good.
Yeah. Lord Shadow coming up with something that I totally forgot. So Buuji in the chat says Diablo 4 and Dead Island 2 are the games he's excited for. Absolutely. Baldur's Gate 3 is hotly anticipated. I am very much looking forward to Baldur's Gate 3 as well as Breath of the Wild 2. But I don't know. Reed says always going back to watch Last Man on Earth. Oof. I'm so sorry that you're in on that, Reed. Actually, that's not true.
Yeah, that's not my thing.
Yeah, that's not true. It's not the worst, but I'm not into that. Cool. I'm going to whip through my stuff first, real quick before we move on. I have been playing a lot of my Steam Deck. Nav, are you going to take your Steam Deck to Africa?
No, I am taking my Switch though.
Okay. Yeah. A little less cumbersome.
Yeah. Even though it's going to be covered under travel's insurance, I just feel it'll be easier to, well, maybe not with all the holidays coming up, but anyway, it's a little bit less expensive and and less bulky.
Oh, Reed, see, I'm thinking the Tim Allen one, not the Will Forte one. I've never seen the Will Forte one. I'm just thinking, was that Last Man Standing? Is that what the Tim Allen one is? I don't know. Anyway, with my
Last Man Standing, Tim Allen.
Okay, yeah. So with my Steam Deck, I got this. So I had a grip on it before, and I got a new one that's a little less cumbersome, and it's got this like, you can't see it. I'm not gonna be able to focus up on this, but it's got like a ridged feeling to it. So it actually sits in my hands a little bit better. And also I got a dock that I now can put on my desk. So what I've actually been doing, and the dock has 3 USB 3.0s. It's got a USB-C for the power and all of that stuff. And then it's got an HDMI input. It doesn't have a Ethernet cable, which kind of or an Ethernet port, which kind of sucks. So downloads are still bad, or not bad, but they're just, it's not gigabit like I want. So I've actually been not playing a whole lot let me back up. So Game Pass works sort of on your Switch or on your Steam Deck, but it only works in the cloud gaming through the browser, which is kind of janky. Microsoft is working on an actual compatibility with Proton, which is the Linux backend thing that Steam Deck uses to run Windows games, but it's not there yet. And so I started messing around with this program that allows me to install launcher clients. So I've installed, because I have Game Pass, I also have EA Play with it for free. It just comes with it. So I installed this launcher that allows me to install the EA Origins launcher, which Origins is like a pestilence. Like it's one of the worst things in the world. I hate all of the launchers that you have to use. Like give me Steam or give me death. But so I have the Steam wrapper, and then I've got Origins on top of it. And then I installed for free the entire Mass Effect, whatever the Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 thing is, as well as Dragon Age Inquisition. I never played Inquisition. I played Origins, and I played the first one. They were fine. The first one was great. The second one, that's fine. Inquisition I never played. And so I have been playing, alternating back and forth between Mass Effect 2, one of my all-time favorite games, and just starting Dragon Age Inquisition, and being able to play it in 4K 60. Well, it's 4K. It's upscaled 4K. 4K 60 on your Steam Deck is one of the coolest freaking things in the entire world. And I'll get like 4 hours of battery life. So I can play this thing theoretically for 4 hours. Haven't ever played that much because I'm an adult and I have other responsibilities, unfortunately. But it's freaking outstanding. So Steam Deck, I come on the show every single time and talk about the Steam Deck because I'm constantly finding new things to do with it. I've also installed all of my emulators. I have a hacked Switch, and so I dumped my Switch BIOS and I dumped Breath of the Wild as well as a couple other games. And so I'm now actually playing Switch games on my Steam Deck at 60 frames a second, not 30. 60. It is freaking amazing. So go get a Steam Deck. You can buy them right now. They're not on back order anymore. You can just buy them. Like you put your money, you go pay for it, and you get it within 2 weeks. So congratulations, nerds. Go have fun with that. Go
just
ahead,
like we are not sponsored by Valve at all.
No, but if they would like to, if they would like to,
but we're not turning it down, okay? Because we talk about it every.
Well, so my next project is I have a micro SD card just sitting here waiting, and I'm going to install Windows on it so that I can actually install Game Pass games natively. There is a way to essentially spoof the drivers that so Windows pretends like it's actually loading into a Windows machine, even though some of the drivers are incompatible and all that. So theoretically and realistically, people have done it. I'll be able to install Game Pass PC games into my Steam Deck and make it without having to do any. It's fantastic. On top of that, I've also been watching Welcome to Wrexham. I don't know if you guys know what that show is. Welcome to Wrexham is about Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, who bought a soccer team it's called Wrexham FC. They bought it over in England. It is a fantastic show. It is heartwarming. It's on Hulu. In Canada, it might be on Disney Plus. I can't remember. But it is a fantastic show, especially if you like Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, the guy from he's Mac from It's Always Sunny. It's just a great show, and I love soccer, so it's just like this perfect pairing of all those things. And I finished Westworld, but nobody cares about Westworld. So there we go. That's what we've been watching. I saw that face, Templar. Did you watch Westworld?
No, I heard it was pretty good to start, and then I heard a lot of complaints about the kind of later seasons. But I heard that at least the first, maybe second season were quite good, but then that it kind of falls off a cliff. I don't know if that was your experience with it.
Season 3 was a travesty. Season 3 was like season 4 of Arrested Development, if you guys know what that is, or season 3 of Community. It was awful. Like, it shouldn't have been made. But season
3 of Community?
Season 4 of Community, when Dan Harmon left. I think that was season 4. Yes, it was. It was 4.
Yeah, it was season 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
When it was a dumpster fire. It was a travesty. Seasons 1 and 2 were good, and then I finished season 4 over the last couple of weeks, and it was or that Irish season of Sons of Anarchy, says Reed. Yeah, that one too kind of sucked. Season 4 it started off real strong, and then it's kind of ended kind of poorly. But if there's the coolest thing that's actually happened is that there's literally been no nudity whatsoever in season 4, and I am 100% on board with any HBO show that has no nudity. Thank you guys for not treating me like I'm a 16-year-old boy who just wants to see women with their shirts off. You did it. Good job. Cool. On that note, pop into the chat as well. Everybody watching along, what you guys have been kind of playing, watching, listening to, consuming in nerd culture. We would love to read that out and kind of interact with you. As we turn the corner here a little bit, first off, Mark and Jen, Pastor Mark from Lux Digital Church, they are on their way. Well, tomorrow they're going to be on their way back from California. Also, Templar, it looks like your cat is going to jump right out of the window, and I think that is awesome.
Oh, he's standing on guard. There's always squirrels and stuff. We live next to a cemetery, and there's always squirrels and stuff out there, so he keeps an eye on them.
I love it. Has he ever had to attack one before?
They've caught them when they were outside, but we don't really let them outside here. There's too many cars around. It's too kind of busy in the area we're in now. to really let them outside anymore for any length of time without us like being there. So
good call.
We don't let them out. Yeah.
Good call. Priya Mensi in the chat says they've been watching Deep Space Nine. Do you have any experience with Deep Space Nine?
I never got the hype, honestly. I know people like love Deep Space Nine and like, you know, like how much better it is and how different it is compared to like the Next Generation and Voyager. I never got it. I never understood it. It was fine. I never particularly liked Cisco as a captain.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just not me. It's not for me. But you know, it's okay if you like Star Trek, which I do, but I prefer Voyager or even Next Generation. I even like prefer Enterprise to Deep Space Nine. So
wow. Nav, Buuji, you guys ever watch?
Never even heard of it.
Never heard of Star Trek Deep Space Nine?
It's Star Trek. I mean, I have not watched one episode of Star Trek in my life.
You know, like 1,000 different Pokemon, but you've never heard of a Star Trek show that was on for like 9 years. All right.
Look, my extent of Star Trek knowledge goes Patrick Stewart. That's it.
Yeah, Next Generation.
That's fun.
In the movies.
I watched the OG. Yeah, I've watched the OG and Next Generation. I've watched kind of stuff with, I don't know.
Yeah.
Deep Space Nine, which is not my thing.
Yeah.
So I tried watching some of the newer stuff. What's like the newer one that's on Paramount Plus?
Oh, Discovery.
Discovery, because I was watching Halo. That's the only reason I had Paramount Plus was because of Halo. So I'm like, okay, I'll watch another sci-fi show. And I'm like, oh man, I have issues with it. That's a different thing. Okay, I have issues with it.
You remember Halo? You remember how bad that was? Star Wars Discovery is like it's along the same lines of just like, oh gosh, just kill me.
It's not great.
Lord Shadow in the chat says they finished Legend of Heroes Trail of Cold Steel 3 today. I'm not real familiar with that. I'm going to Google that in a second. Played a bit of the Baldur's Gate beta with a friend. Awesome. Harvestella later. Doc in the chat says currently watching C and the final season of Peaky Blinders. Templar, have you seen C yet?
I have no idea what that is.
Okay, that's the Jason Momoa one. It's on Apple TV Plus, so I don't know if you have Apple TV Plus or not.
Oh no, I'm morally opposed to Apple, so no, I don't have Apple TV Plus.
Fantastic. Have you watched Peaky Blinders?
I have that one. I watched until about the beginning of season 5, and then I sort of moved on to other things because I grinded it pretty hard, or like I binged it pretty hard, and I kind of burnt myself out on it a little bit. Not because the show wasn't good anymore. It's just I watched too much of it in too short a time that I kind of need a bit of a break from it. But I'm absolutely going to go back and finish it because season 6, which I believe is the final one, just finished recently. So I'm 100% going to go back for that one. That's a great show.
I am morally opposed to Apple. Cool. The richest company in the world. Yeah, I can see that as well. Chat is blowing up right now about Trails in the Sky. I do remember you talking about that a couple weeks ago now.
What is that? Is that another one of these generic like Japanese RPGs that you guys play?
What do you mean by you guys?
It's not generic.
Wow.
Like Octopath and all these ones that have really generic sounding names. And
Octopath out here catching strays. Yeah, out here catching strays.
I draw the line.
No, but they're all the same. They all sound the same. The names are all super generic. Like it seems like one of those. Is it one of those?
Not at all.
Like Starfield and Dragon Age and Mass Effect are all not generic. Okay, go ahead.
We maybe in a future episode we'll talk about Octopath. We need to move on, unfortunately, but Octopath is one of those that sticks with you. Emperor Shinoki in the chat says the disrespect to the JRPG genre with a Pikachu emoji. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
I mean, I played all the old like Final Fantasy games. Like I played not really 7, but I played 8, 9, 10, 10, 2. That was kind of right in the window, and I was playing Final Fantasy.
Those are the old ones?
So
For him, they're the old ones. Yeah.
Old ones for me. I didn't play like the ones that were like top down or like whatever.
See, I grew up on those
ones.
I grew up on 3 and 6.
Like all these games, they are better than Final Fantasy. Okay. Like, sure.
They are better than Final Fantasy.
Yeah, they just all sound and kind of look the same to me. I can't do it.
Does he know Chrono Cross?
It's not a hill I'm going to die on, but like.
Not Chrono Cross, Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger.
I know Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Triggers.
Yeah.
It's a classic.
Chrono Trigger.
That needs to be remade.
I've heard it has a great soundtrack. I feel like one of my buddies played one of the Chrono Trigger games.
Chrono Trigger is one of those
Wild Arms.
Wild Arms is also good. Chrono Trigger is one of those that I play once a year. I started it up. That's how I knew my emulators were working. I started up and played about an hour of Chrono Trigger just to like get through the fair, get to Frog, like all that stuff. That's one of those you can keep going back to.
When I hear these games, I just think of like the Genshin Impact crowd. Is that like, that's like a different crowd? Or
moving on today?
That's different. Okay.
That is a completely different crowd, my friend. Oh. Yeah, that is. We're gonna move on. So we're gonna make the hard turn here and walk away from that and talk about something that's equally as depressing, and that's Elon Musk buying Twitter. Nav sitting there with his Occupy Mars.
Hashtag Occupy Mars.
Hashtag Occupy Mars. No. So what kicked this? We're going to talk broadly about social media and kind of our impact and our role in social media, and what is really bringing this to a head is if you have been living under a rock or you did not know anything about social media, one of the world's richest men, Elon Musk, bought Twitter for pennies on the dollar or for pennies, essentially, compared to his overall wealth. He bought it for what, $45 billion, $44 billion, something along those lines. It was only valued at...
Drop in the bucket.
Yeah, a literal drop in the bucket for this guy who is trying to occupy Mars. Twitter is one of the social media platforms that I use the most. I don't necessarily tweet, but especially for a tech nerd like myself and a sports guy like myself, it is probably the best place to be in terms of news that comes quick. There's no real image or anything associated with it. It just kind of like, hey, here's your characters, here's your thing. And it's awesome for that. It's awesome for journalism. It's quote unquote journalism. It is awesome for humor, for GIFs, for clips, for all those things that are out there. Elon Musk decided that he wanted to throw his considerable support and considerable weight into the Twitterverse, and so he bought it. He wasn't going to buy it, and then all of a sudden it went through, and 2 weeks later, or 2 weeks ago, he comes walking in with a sink and says, "Let that sink in," which is the
fantastic bit.
He's an idiot. He's just, let me get this out of the way. I have Tesla solar panels.
It's a God complex.
It is. I have Tesla solar panels on my house. I appreciate Tesla for the engineering feats that they do. Hate is a strong word. I strongly dislike Elon Musk and all that he stands for. Arrogant white guy that thinks he can just troll everybody. Hate it with an absolute passion. So he buys Twitter and immediately lays off half of its workforce, which may or may not had to happen. It seems like Twitter was being run like a startup, even though they'd been around for 15 or 20 years. And they were losing somewhere like $4 million a day. And then Elon proceeds to tell everybody that he's going to make it a bastion for free speech. And that's just really kind of a dog whistle for a bunch of neo-Nazis and people to get back on the platform. He fires the head of moderation. He fires the head of ethics. He fires the head of AI. He fires the people that are actually doing the trending topics. So if you look a couple days ago, and if you open up Twitter, you'll always have that sidebar of trending topics. A day after the election, there were still things like races and all this other stuff, things that had happened 2 or 3 days prior, because people were manually adding and deleting those things, which is stupid. Anyway, So he throws the floodgates open. You can go read more about this. This is not we don't have time to talk about the ins and outs of Twitter. What we do want to talk about is the fact that now this is opening the door to a lot of people saying, well, I'm going to leave the platform. I'm going to leave Twitter. I'm going to go to other places on social media. For one reason or another, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to do this other thing. And first off, I wanted to open the conversation and talk a little bit about social media and talk about its impacts on you guys. But second off, as Christians, should we be running away from something like this? Should we be trying to hold the line? Should we be even caring about these things? And so I just want to have a broad conversation. Give me your thoughts, give me your feelings, give me your impact. Not even necessarily about Twitter, because we can talk about Meta and the fact that they just laid off 11,000 people as well, which was bound to happen because Facebook has been a sinking ship for the last couple of years. So who wants to start? Who's got feelings? Who's got thoughts? Who's got ideas on how bad this is? Nav, you raised your hand. Go for it.
I will start. I was listening to, if you want a good resource, this guy is a lawyer, but he's very involved in the gaming. He talks about the Bethesda deal. He talked about the Activision Blizzard deal that's going on with the CMA and all this other stuff. His name is Hoeg Law, Hoeg. The law. He has a podcast, and he is a lawyer for that. He's not a lawyer for this, but he's like, I'm just giving my opinion on things. So if you want to see the lawyer side, break it down. So I find it very, but he doesn't just do this. He's been talking about Twitter too, as well. And I find it very interesting how he's breaking down things that Elon Musk has said and the deal and stuff. So if you want like a lot of information about that is in a very understandable way, are you more interested? He comes from a non-biased perspective, which I appreciate. Like he doesn't come from it from a liberal or far left, far right, or left or right, whatever. He's just like, I'm just going to give you the facts and give you the opinions. He goes, it does, So I appreciate that. So Hoeg Law, go check that out. That's a shout out to that podcast right there. But anyway, one of the things he said was when the company is taken over by an individual, usually you can count on 25 to 50% of the workforce getting axed because for a lot of times companies are bloated in a lot of ways. I'm not saying this is right. I'm just saying. And then also they want to rehire in the case of Elon Musk, he wants to rehire his own people. You're already seeing that where he's put in like people that are in charge of certain Tesla things are now in charge of Twitter things as well. And for like some of the, I guess, algorithms and a couple other things and some of the Tesla CEO people are not upset with that either. It's pretty interesting. Our CFOs or whatever. It's kind of like a mess with that. Not saying that's right. I do feel sorry for the people who lost their jobs right around the holidays and stuff like that. I hate seeing that with any companies that do that.
They got I did hear a little bit about that. They got 4 months severance, which is pretty cool.
Okay, 4 months. Okay, that helps. I did not see that, so that's good because my wife was telling me yesterday another company. Can't remember company just laid off like 10,000 workers right before the holidays, and it was just kind of like, yes, thank you. Yeah. There we go. And but yeah, I in some ways don't take this the wrong way. It's been kind of funny seeing the whole blue checkmark thing. I've just been kind of sitting back watching this as a spectator. Like the gifs of someone just grabs a thing of popcorn and just sits there and starts eating it. That's what I feel like I've been doing mentally. Just like, okay. Because of like all the people that impersonated Elon Musk and other like people that have impersonated Nintendo of America and like tweeted things out, which were quite funny actually. PlayStation, Xbox, all those things, they all got banned within 24 hours. But then Elon Musk comes out and says, hey, thank you for everyone impersonating me and giving me money. And then I ban you. Like, he's like trolling people because he is a troll. But it's just kind of funny. It's like people are just like throwing money away just to do things. I'm like, okay, you're kind of defeating. You're saying you're upset. I know they're trying to prove a point in a protest. Like, see, anyone can do this, but it's like technically before you could do, not the whole blue check mark. You could technically try to, intimidate someone. I mean, not intimidate. I'm sorry, not intimidate. Impersonate someone, and that would still get you banned. But now you just can do it, pay money to look more verified. There you go.
Yep.
But
Well, and not
But
only
as I
that,
feel about this, but as I feel-
and not only that, hold on. So you can pay $8 to become verified, but then a couple of days ago, I think this is like on Tuesday or Wednesday, Elon says, "Okay, here's what we're going to do. Now you can pay the $8 a month to be verified, but also if you're like an actual company or like we're going to give you a second check mark. So not only do you get a blue check mark, but now you get a gray one that says verified." So essentially, they're just going back on or whatever. And then they axed it literally 3 hours later. MKBHD, who's a tech reviewer that I really like, he tweeted about it. And then about an hour after that tweet, Elon tweeted him back and said, "Hey, I just killed it." What? Like it's
the same day.
It's like the Lord of the Flies over there. It's just like Reservoir Dogs at the end when everything is blowing up behind and you've got just 4 dudes walking very slowly. That's what this feels like, which is hysterical to me. Good, keep going, Nap. Sorry.
No. And yeah, the great check thing. I thought that was hilarious. I forgot it. But someone said eventually it's going to be like colored check marks. That's what's going to happen next. Like There's going to be a blue check mark. There's going to be an orange one. There's going to be a magenta. There's going to be, there's going to be all these like different color check marks for different things. I'm like, this is, as someone tweeted out, I saw a tweet, this is like being on the Titanic with the violin music playing in the background. And it's like, you can't leave it because it's like the main social media platform. I mean, technically you can't, but it's like, where are you going to go? That type of thing. So you're just kind of like on the ship, like sinking and stuff.
Yeah.
But as you said, as Christians, okay, because I don't want to take up all this time, but as Christians, how should we respond to things like with this? For me, one of my things is I try to practice what the Bible says: be slow to speak. Slow to speak. Slow to anger, quick to listen. Some proverbs, and so with any of this, I'm like, I just want to kind of see how this plays out. If people do have concerns and do have questions, I feel that's definitely okay to ask them and everything, but to just like spew out stuff like this is on both sides, not just this. Just to be hateful, you know what I mean? Just like you see a lot of like, not just talking people using racist slurs and stuff like that. I'm just talking about people being like, trash this, trashing anyone who stays on here. It's like people calling out other people for staying on. And it's just like, but it should just be your own individual choice. Don't force someone to see your way because you don't agree with Elon Musk. Like, I don't agree with a lot of stuff with Elon Musk. But I'm just like, but is it my place to like bash someone? I see, no, like that's not my place. And how does that represent Christ? And that's my ultimate thought process. How does this represent Christ? If I have in my bio on Twitter that I'm a disciple of Jesus and that I'm a student pastor, that's in my bio, and I'm out there going like, Elon Musk is the worst, and he may very well be, okay? And all this other stuff is like, how would Jesus respond to that? And that's what I think.
Okay. I appreciate those thoughts. My follow-up would be, how do I put this without, so I'm not slamming Elon Musk. I was earlier. I'm going to continue to slam him because I think poor leadership needs to be called out. I think
I'm not saying like not calling out stuff, but it's like doing it, and you don't have to do it in a hateful way.
Oh no, I'm not going to go on there with my impersonator Elon Musk, fake Elon Musk accounts. I am going to stay on Twitter because as long as people are still tweeting interesting and cool and awesome news facts that I need to know, especially about tech and sports, I'm going to stay there. But the role of a Christian, so you're saying stay on there. How are you representing Christ on Twitter?
Well, like I said, it's what you tweet out. Honestly, you can tell. Like it's like most of my tweets have to do with sports and video games and stuff within my denomination, and talking to like a few other people that I know that are Christians on there. But I'm just trying to, because I have a lot of people that I do follow, several people. In fact, several people follow me that I know are not Christians, and so I think of that in a sense like, okay, there are definitely people that don't like Elon Musk. I'm like, okay. And if they bring a question up, but for me, when I see it, it's like, I either have two options. I can either just abstain from the conversation altogether and just not say anything, just like, hey, I'm taking a backseat on this. And sometimes that silence is a choice too. I understand that.
Oh yeah.
Like sometimes silence is the answer. And, but if I do tweet out, it's like, listen, I'm like, I'm going to, if I do tweet out, if I want to, I haven't done it. Like, hey, I'm going to stay on here because I have friends and I have family on here and I have people that I do like. And and the reason I'm on here is for those people. And I hope this situation rights itself and things can get back to normal. But until then, this is a very long tweet. Okay. But until then, I'm going to abstain from the conversation of anything hateful or just or just not, in a sense, edifying. I mean, I don't know if I would use the word edifying, but if I'm like, it's not used to, if I'm not saying something to build someone else up. Now, I do complain about my sports team on there. So that's, so I have to be careful because I do complain. But it's not so much like I hate this player. I don't hate any of my players. I'm just disappointed if some don't play well, but that's different.
I think Jesus would complain about the Titans too. Do you support the Titans?
They're not like my favorite team because I grew up in Tampa, so the Buccaneers.
Oh, well, gosh, Jesus definitely, yeah, he definitely would not be happy with the Bucs this season.
Yeah, yes, but the Titans, I am cheering for the Titans because they're like the local team here, and I'm okay with that. And they're in a different conference, so I'm totally okay with cheering them on.
So, and I'm going to get to Doc's comment. There's a couple comments in the chat that I want to talk through, but Nav, your conclusion you're coming to, if I'm hearing this correctly, this is like a very psychology major thing to do. What I'm hearing is you as a Christian should still try to engage with social media as long as you are bringing an air of peace and grace and Jesus to it. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was my 10, 15 minute,
No. I'm being
No. Thank you for doing that. Because I was just like giving my thoughts. I was like trying to think through my thoughts here, but like, yeah. So it's like, yeah, I just want to be on there when people see it, like, okay, I just want to bring,
Sure.
one of my characteristics, I am a peacemaker. I do.
You're a 9.
I don't, I'll try to stop. I'll try to stop people from fighting. I will. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay. So we're going to get to an 8 in a second, who's Buuji. But before we get to the investigator and the protector, Priamensi in the chat says, I don't think the state of the platform is not really the indicator whether we should use them or not, rather what we can do on there and what their use does to us, which I think is kind of where Nav was going. Lord Shadow says, the way I see it, open doors on purpose for hate to spread and for lies to be allowed to spread as truth is really what frustrates me. Yeah, that is the overriding evil of social media, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And then Doc kind of summed up a lot of interesting thoughts there. He says, yeah, it's weird because social media is essentially fueled by gossip, and we're called as Christians to not add wood to the fire. So to an extent, most social media I stay out of. Like I'm on Facebook just to buy used board games at this point, which yes and amen. Bless you, my child. Bless you. Buuji, so first off, what platforms are you on? What do you use regularly? What do you just look at your friends and family's kids on? Like where are you located?
So I am mostly on Facebook.
Okay.
I have a Twitter, but I don't even use it. I think I get tweet from like Turtle Rock Studios, which is just Back for Blood updates. And that's about the only thing I check out. I have an Instagram, but I only got that because I was watching some people with some riddles. And the only way to like get all the riddles, I had to follow them on Instagram. And I'm like, sure, why not? What's one more? But yeah, Facebook is about all that I use. I just don't see the need for multiple social media platforms. I think like one evil is enough. Like I don't need everything under the sun. But to me, social media, I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, I think I use it mostly to just kind of post pictures of the kids so my mom who lives in Nevada can see them easily. And, it's just a nice way for me to blast my family. So I don't have to send 50 texts with, a picture and I have 3 kids and that's too much. It's too much. Just one Facebook post and we're done. But I think it's something that you have to kind of control and you have to monitor. And I think we live in this day and age where we have a lot of, I like to call them keyboard warriors, people who always want to say the tough, sarcastic thing behind a keyboard because nobody can touch them, I kind of grew up in a world where, you said the stupid thing on the playground and you got made fun of. And I think social media is the exact opposite of that. So like I said, I think it's one of those things you have to control. It's one of those things you have to monitor. And I think it's just a big echo chamber. Like one person says one thing and then next thing you know, it's getting blasted to 3 million followers. And they're just like, oh, like Kim Kardashian said this, so I believe it too. And, that's not the case at all. So I'm in no hurry for my kids to get a social media account, At the same time, I'm in no hurry to get more myself or expand on the ones that I have and the uses that I use them for. As far as Christians and what we should do with social media, I mean, I don't think there's really much we can do. I mean, we can try and use it to, go out there and evangelize and do all that stuff. But for every one person you talk to, you're going to meet 5 trolls, and every one person you reach, you're going to have 17 people telling you why you're wrong and all this stuff. And I mean, Lux is great. And, the Instagram and everything that Lux has is amazing. And I think it's actually out there touching and, reaching out to people and stuff, which is fantastic. But I think that just the nature of social media in itself, it's really hard to get things done and do what you want to do on social media to its fullest.
I like that. Reed said something in the chat that I thought was interesting. He said the personal and business worlds are so different. I couldn't do my job without socials. I work in tech and generate all my leads from there. Where does that land with you guys?
I mean, as a student pastor, like socials are a big thing for our students. And it's funny, it's not so much Twitter is where my students are. A majority, believe it or not, majority of them are on Instagram, or I'll interact with them through like, not really Snapchat. Like Snapchat is more like a text message system for like some of my students. Like my wife and I have like a shared account basically for reasons, and everything else. But
I get those reasons.
And yeah. And so, but it's mostly like some of the guys in the youth group, they'll like message me. I'm like, you guys have my phone number, but you'll send me a message, not a picture, just a message through Snap.
Yep.
And I'm like, guys, come on, just text message me, please. Okay. Anyway, or they'll message me through Instagram, which I think is hilarious, even though they have my number. But anyway, that's a whole different thing. I love you guys. If any of you are watching, okay, it's okay. It's okay. Some of them do watch. Okay. Some of them do watch this. So they listen to it later in podcast form. They know this. I tell this to them to their face. I'm like, guys, you can just text me. But anyway, so it's not really on Twitter. Some of them are on Twitter, but I never really. That was like some of my older students that were there from 5-6 years ago. Twitter was all a thing for them, but they're now all like out of college now or older and everything. But like this generation is Be Real, still Snapchat, Instagram, and several of them like have gone on Facebook now, which is interesting. But yeah. So like for me, socials are, especially like Facebook is for parents, like really, because that's how I interact with most parents. Twitter is my own personal thing. And then, but like, I think with all of this, like social media in itself is neutral. It's how we use it. It can be for good or evil. And I do think like companies do need to monitor and like, how do I say this? Definitely in a sense, limit free speech. Okay. And because yes, there should, and because I know that sounds like, what do you think about that? That's my question. It's like, what do you think about like, because Elon Musk, one of the things is he was just making us like a free speech marketplace. And I'm just like, well, it's run by a company, and a company is going to monitor things and it's going to moderate things too. And I think it definitely, when you get people who are not just Christians, because Christians can be whack too, okay? But like all people on there, like saying certain things. And also, like I said, spreading gossip or rumors or stuff that's not true, that's actually factual, not true. Conspiracy theories, I think that should be limited on a lot of things. But that's a whole different discussion for a different time.
Yeah, good luck.
Yes, I know. It'll never happen. But it's like, there's so many people that I know that like, oh, did you see this on social media? Or did you see this? And I'm like, did you even fact check any of that? I'm just that's my first question. Did you fact check this? Because
well, yeah, I found it on Facebook.
I can do a simple search right now. But yeah. Oh my goodness. Or I get, like I said, a YouTube video. I'm like, I have no clue who this person is or his credentials or anything. And he's saying this. I'm like, okay. But
Templar.
Because I could say something and
yeah. Oh yeah,
sorry,
totally.
I didn't mean to go on. Templar,
No. You're good. Barboda says social media literacy is a real problem. Yes and amen. Templar. In our Discord, you had made mention that you felt like you wouldn't have a lot to add to this. Why or why not? Wouldn't you have a lot to add to this discussion?
I don't know what to make of like the question. I mean, I both think this question is very important, and I just really don't care. Like, okay. I feel like so many people are making people are making such a big deal out of this on like both sides, and it's become a real political issue. Because if you're on the left, people are like, he's bringing Nazis back. He's bringing Nazis on the platform, and like the use of certain like bad words skyrocketed right when he took it over. So like, therefore we're all doomed and the world is ending. And it's like, of course people were going to troll or going to test it as soon as he took over. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, let's settle down. And then on the other side, the right, it's like every like little bit of moderation that Twitter is still doing now, or like meeting with certain like groups, like conservatives are like, oh, you said you were going to use it as a free space, like a town hall, free speech, like mecca. And like, it's not going to be that now. So you're like going back on what you said. And it's like, they're going to have some, like, what did you think was going to happen? No one's going to advertise on a platform that has no moderation at all. Like, what exactly was your vision of this? And then like people getting outraged about the stuff Elon Musk is saying. And it's like, he's using the platform as a brainstorming tool. Like, that's what he's doing, right? Like, he puts an idea, he sees how people react to it, and then he changes it based on that. Like, that's what he's doing. And it seems kind of evident that that's what he's doing. So I just feel like the whole situation is just like ways for people to get outraged about something different. And like half of what I see, like I started a TikTok account for my cats, and like half of what I see on my TikTok feed is like people being like, Twitter workers fired unjustly. They have a legal case. Rise up. Yes. Yeah. No, I saw that. Like, rise up against like whatever, or like, he's not doing enough or this or that. It's like, I don't care. Like, I don't care. But to me, nothing has really changed. Like, I think certain opinions aren't going to get as like heavily censored now as they did before. Like, okay, and maybe you disagree with them. Like, the really extreme stuff, I think ultimately will, but it's a transition period. So I think it was always going to be a bit of a Wild West situation when that happened. So I think the outrage farming on either side is sort of silly. And then beyond that, I think Twitter is essentially just like a method of communication now. So like saying whether Christians should get involved in it, like, yeah, I don't think we should get involved in like sort of petty, stupid debates about nothing. But like in terms of using it as a platform to like spread the gospel or trying to shine a light there, like it's no different than Lux. Like Lux was created with the idea of shining a light into a dark place in terms of the gaming community, which it really can be. And on Twitch, and to me, Twitter is the same thing. Like, yeah, there's a lot of trolls, but like you can kind of shine a light there, and you can try to, be a positive influence, even if that's kind of cliche. And like, maybe you'll make an impact, maybe you won't really, but I think you have to be plugged into social media to some extent because it's so much of the way people communicate. Like, not being a part of it, I think, is not really much of an option. And the people who are like dramatically leaving it, I think is just narcissism. Like, they just want to be like, hey, remember this D-list celebrity that nobody cares about or has cared about since like the 80s? Oh, they're making a big stink about leaving Twitter, and then they're going to get an ad written about, or a article written about them. Like, nobody cares. Like, just leave then. Like, I like the whole situation. I'm kind of done with. Like, I think it's going to level out, and I just hope that the kind of outrage on like every side regarding it just sort of dies down and it can kind of go back. But like, people have vested political interests in what happens, so I don't know if that's going to happen. But I think it's required to be involved in it. Like, I don't think, to me, if you want to reach people, and presumably Christians are still trying to reach people, then I think it's almost a necessity for Christians to be involved in social media and whatever the main one is. And you just need to be careful how you're being involved with it, and like what you're sharing and what you're, saying and whatever. But, I think it's like a necessity in some ways. It can certainly allow us to reach far more people, and that can be good or bad depending on how we handle ourselves. So,
yeah, Bootstraps, hello, welcome. I saw you chime in there, and then we got caught in conversation. Bootstraps said something cool right here. He says, I feel Twitter's more about the individual quote post and quote response, end quote. Much less on the conversation side, more comments than conversation. It can be utilized in my opinion, but at the same time, I feel it would be a lot less outreach and more here is a post about such. Yes, I think it's the same thing as community building on YouTube, where it is about post and then response. I think that is an interesting front door into a lot of things like we are trying to do with Discord. So the big general thing, and Templar, I think you hit the nail on the head, that it is almost a requirement now if we are in ministry to be involved in social media. Part of you said outrage farming. Part of my outrage from this is, yes, like the Kathy Griffins of the world and the people from the I Love the 80s, the VH1 show that are like blowing up now all of a sudden and just saying like, nah, dude, I'm leaving Twitter. Like, okay, that's fine. Whatever, go to Mastodon or something. I really don't care. But go spin up a open source farm for your bots to follow you. Who cares? But the thing about reaching people right now is it's the same conversation as the Roman roads conversation that we could have from 2,000 years ago. Should Christians have used the Roman roads because they were built by an empire that was essentially oppressing them? And the answer was yes. It was the technology there to reach people. So and I don't know that the conversation ever came up, but essentially whenever I hear the conversation about people running away from social media that are Christians going like, well, I don't do any of that because like, that's sinful and God doesn't want me to do that. Like, I don't quite understand that, because we're told to go and make disciples, and you can't go and make disciples unless you're going where the people are. I mean, unless I'm missing the point of that whole Great Commission thing that we're supposed to be following from Matthew 28. So there's that part of it. The second part of it is the control part. A lot of what I'm hearing from Christians is control on two sides. They're saying, well, now it's a privately held corporation. And it's like, newsflash, it was a privately held corporation to begin with. It was just held by 3 or 4 other people. Now it's held by Elon and his team of people. So it's still privately held. There is no, they can moderate however they want to moderate. You're on there at their behest. And if they want to make you pay, then you pay, or you just go somewhere else. Like that's how it is. But then, so the other side of and then those are the same people that are arguing like, well, I thought America was about free speech. Like, yeah, America is about free speech, but there's two sides of that coin. Free speech is one thing. Free speech on a private platform that's privately owned does not exist. Like, people, you can walk into a McDonald's and they can kick you out if they want. It says no shirt, no shoes, no service. But like, if you do something that they don't want to do business with you, they kick you out. You can't go in there and start effing people off in there. So that's the one side of it. The other side of it is, well, this is a public forum. It's like, no, it is not a public forum. It is a privately held corporation that we are allowed to be in. Now, granted, they're making money off us. And so, we are, if something is free, then you're the product. There's that whole conversation. But the Christians that are actively running away from social media and sticking their head in the ground and sticking their fingers in the ear and saying, nah, I don't want to hear this anymore. I would, I am praying for you, but B, I would have a long conversation with God about that. And I would have a long conversation about, okay, if you're running away from social media, then what are you running to? Where are the people that you're running to actually make disciples? Because if you're not doing that, then you are actively disobeying what Jesus actively commanded us to do by being active in our communities. Now, granted, we are a lot more online at Lux. We are a lot more online than everybody else because our church does not have a building. Our building looks like a Discord server. There's a bunch of ones and zeros and gifs of people doing belly flops all over the place. Like that's what our church looks like, which is dope. But what we're seeing happening here is people fleeing from these things and not replacing them with anything. And that's fine. Like you do you. But I'm almost starting to notice that people are running into these other little communities. They're spinning up Discord servers and Slack channels. They're spinning up Mastodon instances, and they're restarting BBs. And my fear is that not only Twitter, but like other places like this are just going to turn into the hell that 4chan is, or the hell that 7chan is. And it's just become, Buuji used the term echo chamber. It's just going to turn into an echo chamber of just hatred where people are going to be allowed to just say whatever they want. And that, again, privately held corporation, you say what you want until they kick you out. But yes, preeminently there is the negative aspects of social media. But again, like you can control that. That's a whole other conversation for another day. I'm not being cold hearted about that. But I'm not, Preeminency says, I'm not sure social media is a very effective outreach method. The Roman road's allowed for visiting others. I mean, that's what we're doing here in Lux. We're visiting others. Essentially, you spin up a Discord server and Nav small group has 10 people in it, and we're visiting others. Our dream team thing is let's say 8 people in a small group. Our dream team meetups will have anywhere between 8 and 16 people. We're meeting others. So I would push back a little bit on that, Preeminency. I get what you're saying, but I would push back a little bit on that assertion. Go ahead. I cut you off.
I wanted to say on that real quick, because this is before maybe when Facebook was just beginning, but Xbox Live, we did a lot of networking through that, just meeting other people, mostly playing Call of Duty, when Modern Warfare 2 and all that stuff on the 360. But we met some people who are not Christians that we became good friends with. And we got to share the gospel through that to them. In fact, one of my brothers sent a Bible and everything to a friend out in Seattle, from Knoxville to Seattle, and wasn't a Christian. Everything was witnessing through him and all that stuff. And they're still friends today and everything. And he became a Christian and all that stuff through Xbox Live, which is the social, stuff like that. And so when I see that, I'm like, that was our Roman road to others. And because my brothers and I, we said, hey, let's use this for good. If we're going to meet other people, talk to other people and everything. And people knew when they came into our Xbox Live talking, hey, 2 things, no sexual innuendos, no cursing. Okay. And that's honestly, it's you can hang with us. We just ask you those 2 things right there. And people are like, okay. And because we come out that day, someone says hey, we just don't use language. Can you just kind of we're trying to keep this friendly here, kid friendly here. That's what we say. We do it in a loving way. But through that, people still hung out with us. We talked to people. We got to, like I said, my brother sent a Bible to someone. I got to witness to some people. My brother right now, which is pretty cool, through Discord, is actually met a guy through, Fall Guys, and lives out west somewhere. I don't know if he's a Christian or not, but my brother talks to him now and everything else, and they're friends and all that stuff. And that guy, Michael's like, oh yeah, he knows I'm a Christian and everything. And I think that's cool, and that's his Roman road. So
yeah,
I just go with that. I'll push back a little bit because I've seen fruit from social media and social networking.
Same. And Preeminency says, I would separate long form interaction from short form. Maybe Discord is much more like an in-person group than social media that has an individualized feed. And yes, I would, we can get into that. Absolutely. I really do think, hey, I've received 100 messages from Restream chat. I've never gotten that before. I mean, we've gotten way over 100 messages. I've just never seen a little We did it, guys. We got an achievement unlocked. We received 100 messages today. Congrats.
Yeah,
That's us.
We did it. Go ahead,
so
Templar.
in terms of like, well, just some of the things in the chat. So unban me, loser.
Sean.
Loser
Yeah, I didn't know where
loser
that is.
Person, unban me, loser.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Kanye West being anti-Semitic and losing everything? This is a serious situation. Is it? I mean, is Kanye West a serious person? I feel like he hasn't been. Hasn't Kanye West been kind of considered crazy for like a decade? Like,
more than that.
So he kind of just finally said something that actually like caused places to drop him, and like he's still like a has hundreds of millions of dollars, if not more. So like, I don't know about losing everything. Like, I think he's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know if I see the seriousness of that situation, other than like, I guess there are people who like him and might like listen to some of the things he's saying and like take it seriously, but I don't really see that as a serious situation, because I don't see him as a serious like person, really.
It definitely isn't. He'll write an album about it in a couple of years and make millions again.
Yeah, Lord Chow says freedom of speech is not freedom from consequences. Yeah, I've heard that saying as sort of like a defense for kind of the cancel culture sort of question, which is probably beyond the scope of our conversation. But there really is no freedom of speech, as Chino said, on social media, because they're all owned by private companies. So like it's not even about freedom of speech. Like in public, if you want to go to the town square, you have freedom of speech. On Twitter or YouTube or whatever, you don't have freedom of speech, because if the company doesn't want you to say something, then you can't say it, right? Like, and depending on like what way the winds are blowing, or what's kind of deemed as an acceptable opinion, that can change literally day to day what you're allowed to say. So so that one's kind of tricky. But yes, generally speaking, you're held accountable for what you say, and then whether people want to work with you or not, that's fine. I don't know. I just want to address a couple of things in the chat. Like beyond that, I think, again, as I've mentioned, it's sort of a necessary evil if you want to see social media as like an evil. I mean, it's like most things on such a large scale, or anything, I guess, like it's going to have its positives and negatives. And like, if for you as an individual, for individual Christians, if there's certain content on social media that you struggle with, and therefore you have a difficult time, so that so you feel like you can't really engage with it, I mean, so be it, right? Like you got to kind of do what works for you in terms of your own walk, and like you want to avoid things that are going to cause you to stumble. Like in general, I think, just like we should try to be lights, on a city on a hill sort of deal in our real life, then we should also try to be that on social media as much as possible, or much as you have time for within the rest of your life. But it's also not a replacement for meeting in person either. It's like, using Lux as an example, like Lux has never really been pitched as a alternative to in-person church. Like for some people it might be that, but like from the beginning, Mark has always sort of said like, we would encourage people to go to their regular in-person church. And then this is like another space that people can be a part of, right? Like this is another space where people can come, like to be together. So it's not, I feel like it's the same thing. Like you can go on social media and try to be a positive influence, or like, share things that are encouraging and whatever. And maybe you don't have an in-depth conversation, but maybe someone sees something they need to see that might help them, and maybe not. I mean, but whatever, right? But then also, I mean, you can still be doing those things in person. Like it's not mutually exclusive. Like I don't see it as being like an either or type of question. Like I think you can do both. So, I guess that's my 2 cents about that kind of aspect of it.
100% agree there. Buuji, anything as we start to make the turn here? I just looked at the time and realized we've been going for almost an hour and a half here. Anything on social media? You're going to go sign up for MySpace after we're done with this?
MySpace was my first one.
Same here, dude.
Yeah, same.
I had a rockin' MySpace page.
But no,
I had a MySpace page.
I look at social media like it's whatever you make it to be. if you want to be that person out there yelling all kinds of stuff, I mean, you're going to find that type of stuff. I don't know. It's like you said, it's a necessary evil. It's something that we have to have, but I don't think it's something that we have to live by. We have people in the real world, not every, that we can go out and meet and conversate with and debate with and do all those things. We don't need to do it with Jim Buck 2 in, New Hampshire and Alice in Wonderland over in Southern California and just argue.
Jim Buck 2. That's the first time I've ever heard that before.
Yeah, I got more.
That's
Joe
great.
Bag of Donuts. You heard that one?
Ooh, yeah, Joy Bag of Donuts. I love that burrito at Moe's too. It's great. Shout out to Moe's for the Joy Bag of Donuts. P51 Mustang said, since I uninstalled TikTok, I've noticed that my days have been better. Yeah, I don't want to confuse the conversation we're having or just did have with the deleterious effects of social media on your mental health, because I think that is an entire conversation that I would love to have at some point, especially since I have kids that... 2 of the 3 of them have we didn't allow, our oldest is 18. We didn't allow him to have anything up until he was 17. And then he was allowed to get an Instagram account because he is a photographer and needs to be where all the photographers are. And now he's 18. He can do whatever he wants. But our 16-year-old, she's our daughter. She has no social media. And once a month she will ask, because all her friends have it and they want to snap her and all that. And once a month we have to say, no, you are not allowed to get any social media. Our 12-year-old, he could care less. The dude is just walking around in his own cloud anyway. But I think there's a different conversation to have about the mental health aspects of social media. And I would love to have that one. However, most people are not listening to that conversation. Most people instead are just doubling down on how much time they're spending on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Insta, Snapchat, anything else, Parler, whatever, Truth Social, whatever else you can think of. They're just spending all their time there. So that's where Christians have to kind of go with the goers and be ready to step up and be involved. Okay. I think we've beat this one to death. Anything else for anything else? Anything that we missed? Anything that we need to wrap up before we hit the finish button here on the stream?
Because of Twitter, I have found out that Ash has finally won the Pokemon League World Championship after 25 years. There you go. So
the spoilers, man.
Oh, he was going to watch it. He was going to watch it.
It's like,
what,
it's the last
movie or something?
They had to. Sorry, Buuji. Sorry. I thought you knew. I thought you would know. Like, it's all over, like, everywhere. Like,
so I saw
like
on Facebook. I saw on Facebook a post came up that Ash was getting his butt kicked by Leon. And I was like, okay, Pokemon Master Journeys is coming to an end. I will go binge it along with playing through Pokemon Violet. And now Nav just ruined the whole show.
What is Master's
if I would have
Journey?
watched like the last season and found out he lost and that's how it ends, I would have been ticked. Okay, just like.
So for those that are uninitiated, like myself and Templar, what is this? Is this like Top Chef? What is going on here?
It's Pokemon Master Journeys. It's on Netflix. It's Netflix's shot at making a Pokemon show.
Okay. Huh. Is it good?
It's your typical Pokemon show, but they took basically all the gens and put them together. So you'll have Ash going to the Galar region and the Sinnoh region and Aloha region, like everything. So they just took Pokemon and made it one big world, threw all the trainers and battlers and everybody in the world, threw them all in there. Ash is trying, of course, be the best of the best, and his sidekick is trying to capture all the Pokemon. But it's on Netflix.
Huh. Well, like I said, P51 Mustangs in the chat says our boy finally won. That's great. We did it. We did it. You guys should have a parade for him somewhere. That'd be fantastic. Yes. Also, what do you guys think? And we'll wrap up on this question. What do you think about in the newer games where you're actually riding on the Pokemon? What do you think about that?
Okay.
I have the same feelings about as Templar has with Elon Musk. It's whatever.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So they made Pokemon like Chocobos? Like Pokemon are like Chocobos now?
Essentially, yeah.
They're
You just ride
weirder.
them around. Yeah.
They are weirder. Yeah.
A lot weirder.
I think it could be real weird depending on which of the Pokemon you're actually riding around on.
Yeah, I mean, you can ride a Machamp. I think like you ride on his shoulders.
It's on his shoulders.
Yeah, like you just kind of like.
You can't ride on ride on all the Pokemon. There's
No. Some of them are too small.
Or maybe they changed that.
Do you ride Machamp on his shoulders, or does he cradle you like a baby?
I think it's more like that. But that's got to be
That'd be great too.
very uncomfortable. Like all the rock around him. Like think about all that.
Dude, this is the content I come for. So like maybe I need to check out these new games.
Here you go. Here you go then.
If Machamp can like cradle me like a baby and just like walk around and that's like how I traverse this world, sure. Hey, you got me.
You'd get some rock sores on your back, but yeah, it'd be great. Also, do you think in all of those worlds, do you think they eat Pokemon?
Oh,
We just need to
Yes.
stop. We just need to stop.
It's a slippery slope, but yes, in Gen 1, I think it was actually in Gen 2 as well, you actually stopped Team Rocket from farming Slowpoke tails because people find them as a delicacy. And we're chopping off all the tails of Slowpoke.
It's true. That is true. I totally forgot. It was, the first gen was pretty dark
Wow.
in some ways.
The horrifying
They all have their
reality
moment,
of Pokemon, the Pokemon snuff film.
You just think about it. You get a fishing pole to fish for Pokemon, and you're doing it to train them, but there's other people fishing to eat them. So,
Oh, all right.
I'd watch that show. I'd watch a show about Pokemon, like where it's like Pokemon police, like going off, like and shutting down like illegal, like farming, poaching, like Pokemon rings, and like that sort of stuff, or like harvesting them for meat. And that I'd watch that show.
Iron Chef Pokemon.
I'd watch that in a heartbeat.
Fun fact, Templar, your dream may become a reality because I think there's like a fan-made Pokemon show that's probably never going to come out, but it actually is like the darker side of Pokemon where Pokemon battles are like this underground fight club type thing, and your Pokemon actually die. And
Whoa!
there's a trailer out there.
Sure.
I forget what it is, but I'll have to see if I can find it and send you the link. But there is like a show that's kind of there.
Let me reference it in the chat right now. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. No, there's another one where like there's a battle between like Charmander and I can't remember, and they're like beating the snot out of each other. It's like a very much like more, it's like it's a fan made, but it's like there's like bruises being shown on the Pokemon and stuff. This is like very brutal. But anyway.
All right, people marry Pokemon.
Now we're going down a path I don't want to get.
Okay, we just get into the show now.
This is like when Sonic.
It is.
That's too much. I think we need to not go down.
It is a very comical conspiracy theory that Mr. Mime is Ash's dad.
Oh, Mr. Mime is freaky too. Oh my god. Okay. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us on the Roundtable today. Please don't listen to the rest of this, and don't eat your Pokemon. We love you. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Goodbye.